Got FOMC coming out in just a minute or so, and a reminder, trading is risky. Use capital you can afford to lose. Actually, there's no reason for anybody to have to trade, especially if you had a good day yesterday. And I've got a magnet 8.5, and I've suggested to the room that we use this scene of the crime is probably going to be somewhere near 08, 8.5. And so far, we have stayed inside the overnight range, pretty much as expected that we would have some kind of a dead range waiting for news today. The size of this pop told us be very careful about expecting too much more. And obviously, couldn't expect the plunge before news either. And still got a gap above us. Not closed yet today, but close. Just about a tick or so. Anybody's trading this type of trade right now, it's a range trade. Still got the 04 support. And things can change in a heartbeat with news events. Retest failure if we cannot take out the high. And we've made special notation that 12.5 is a very big pivot in our system. So we use that idea, make sure you were paid today by 12.5. And this 04 we mentioned was a double. Make sure you're paid coming into the angel, which was 375. We can see we still have range type trading. And if you're looking at some of the charts that have a moving averages on them, you can see we've been over and under, which speaks to neutrality. And I like the idea of fed up, meaning moving into the news. And then usually within a day, I'm looking for profits to be taken. Sometimes it happens the very same day. Other times I'll try to bump the stops first before reversing. That's still a possibility today. And we'll keep my eye on this 12.5 zone. That's an important idea. So typically traders in our room that like the short side will be using top of the pipe as resistance. And Magnus still is this 8.25 area here. Very fidgety. And keep an eye on NQ. Let's see how that's performing. And after yesterday's ramp, hard to believe we'd get a big push north side. But you can't just expect the plunge either. Got to go through and break through some stops to do that. We'd said today we could even take out both sides of the overnight range. So far we have retest failure. And we'd suggested the 02 to 98 would be a very important support level today. Below that, then obviously other targets become available. But for now, this is still range trading. And its trailers past the 04s. This is the widget in action. Got about a 10-point trade on this swing right here. This is where you want to make sure you take profits. Get something out of this. It's a marginal low. And keeping in mind that 08 as the scene of the crime. And you can see with the widget just how easy this is. I don't have to enter data to understand the relationships. Range type trade for now, all we know. Got a pivot point just below us. Over and under, this is a 15-minute chart. And this is our 5-minute chart. Over and under, we can see how sloppy it really is. If we go and we look at a 10-minute chart, we can see that was exact earlier. And so we also took a look at the 15 and suggested that this 97.5 would be supportive basis this chart. And just that little head fake catches turtles who are looking for a big breakdown right there. Still pretty neutral. And here's our angels and demons. And we can see that our earlier angel this is a dump, knocks out the stops, and then it's trying to reset. There's like a sweeper move. But we actually talked about the possibility of a sweeper on the high side before coming back, knockout stops. And this is the angels and demons at work. So we can see right now, this is an undercut low. Just flush out a few traders and then come right back, trap and then squeeze back a bit. Reminder, this 12.5, we'd put this arrow up here earlier today to remind us of that big pivot at 12.5. Kind of a directional pivot for us. And this is I'm going to still count this as a neutral environment because typically you want to go from high to low and then the bounce should be a contra. But just because this is like a double right here, very powerful. And this is another 10 to 12 point swing. Anybody that gets near that 11 or 12 above this, good fortune. And this was the area of our original half gap. And this is yet again another little squeeze type move. And this is self-adjusted now. So we know where the pipe is, 9.5. So our midpoint still around that area before, but certainly moved a tick or two. At the top of the pipe, near that 11.5 to 12.5 is a payday. And then this next rotation will be the key. Still not seeing too much from NQ. And this is the RTH chart. Basis yesterday's chart. Top of the pipe right here. Basically, the top of the pipe is still trying to hold us. So far, that 98 to 02 is still a support zone. And we can see basis yesterday's range, how important this last pink area right in here is. Resistance box, still broken. And this is our predictive model, and we've marked that 12.5. Said this will be an important zone today. We thought this was our fighting zone from this 275 to 3 area. Primary fighting zone. That's why we put this ellipse over here. Focus on that zone. We said this is where, if we're going to go below and stay below, then this is the next range. And if we get above, then we've got not only this range, but one more above. And that we believe that, yes, they absorbed. We have to absorb a lot of that. And we thought today was for consolidating head of news. And then news could make us go obviously crazy. But first things first, we thought we had to take a deep breath. We ran up the stairs, and today it's just like catch your breath. So I'm not reading into this as negative as much as I am neutral, consolidating. But it does give us pause when we look at some other charts in terms of the neighborhood that we've got to. And that was this chart right here. Because we've come a long way. And now we're at at this box right here. We've got to get back underneath this 28 to do any damage and come back, and then 75 is our big support. So step by step. And today, a lot of traders are over trading. They missed yesterday. They're trying too hard to get on board. And those that got clobbered short side, obviously gun shy. Heavy lifting was done yesterday. Zika's just posted in the room the new angel, 12.25. And this is a gigantic head fake, just that slightly lower low. A turtle trade. Turtles stick their neck out, jumping in, and get zipped right back. And this 12.5 idea is still going to be a key. This next rotation probably will be the key for the next hour. And here's a RTH 2-minute chart. We can see we had a tail stuck underneath the rain line and then bounced right back up. Shorts obviously need to get it back under the rain line and continue this direction if they want any more. Pretty hard to read a chart like this over and under, but sometimes you'll want to look at a faster chart when you think there's going to be a move. And the best chart, if you scroll, really take a look at your fives. You can see over and under, not a lot of directionality here. We know we're stretched away from that 82. And then if you want to go and look back at something like this 15, this tells us right now the big boys are still using this idea of 98 as support right now. Got to bust that for any more south side penetration. Very neutral right now. Market has not tipped its hand. And in terms of the swing, got an 01 and we've got a 12, call that 12 and a quarter, call it 12. So we know that the middle of this swing is going to be back here in the 06 area. So realistically, shorts have to bust the 06 and keep coming this way if they want any more. Okay, I've let a little time elapse. And we can see that this 12 has held for now, that 12 and a half idea. Still neutral, range type trading. Longs still have not closed today's gap. And this is the RTH look. And we've got that 8 and a quarter as the middle, which is where we open for the scene of the crime. So we had posted to our traders to keep an eye on both that 12 and a half idea and the idea of the 8 and a half, which we had as our magnet. And it looks to me like so far we've had retest failure, but not conclusive, because we're still basically in the range. We need to abandon a pivot like 28.12. And even if we get a breakdown today, I'm still expecting we'll get a bounce. It's not going to be an all-day sell. I just think yesterday was so rip-roaring that traders will be conservative on the short side. Range type trading, all we know for now. And anybody on the short side should be paid, obviously, from if they took this 12 and a half resistance zone, definitely should be paid in that 8 to 7 area. And then, like we said, if you get by 6, good fortune below it. And here's that 15-minute RTH chart we've been looking at. Gap's still open. Imagine that, a day like today. Still have not been able to close that gap yet. Still range type trading. And we got about a dime from the top. Obviously a bot type trade. All black bars on a 5-minute chart for this leg down, right back in test the double bottom. Don't know if this time through is the charm or not. Maybe one more bounce. And this psychological area 28, big idea. 73 points yesterday. Hard to believe that we can get a big upside today, but also hard because of that to assume big downside either. But there's certain pivots we're going to have to break because traders were trapped. And while we were hoping to get a little pullback today, we didn't think we would get it until at least after news. And getting a little traction to the south side, trying to bump some stops. We've had basically lower highs and lower lows all day. And we've got that 97.5, 98 area as our first first support. Still not hit or broken. Very, very tedious. This is highly unusual. Very tedious type trading. Very, very unusual. We had this huge angel and then immediately took out the bottom. This was a reactionary move, but abandoned already. A very strange type move. So any late buyers today, we had said weekends, anybody that was buying today, and anybody that thought that this was for the home run has already been stopped out. Very tenuous type trading. And you can see that by the size of these bars. This news type trading. But it's not directional. Normally you would think to get a directional move out of some news, but we have not got a really solid directional move because we've only come a couple of points underneath. We haven't knocked stops out, really. A buyer today, especially a big boy, is not going to get stopped out with a point or two of, oh my God, I can't believe it. 2 points, I'm out of here. So I'm still seeing this as range type trading. We haven't even had a 20-point range yet today. And I'd posted yesterday that 98 support until broken, so we're still using that. And while it would be nice to see something like that run a bit, get a little more pullback, has not done that yet. Two-way trading right now. Both sides have dug in and tried to protect their turf.